What if an appliance emergency didn't have to be? If your appliances suddenly decided they were done, don't stress. Best Buy has you covered with a wide variety of major appliances from trusted brands, in stock and available now. So you don't have to worry about laundry piling up, refilling the fridge, or that big dinner party you're hosting. Because Best Buy has the knowledge and expertise to get you the right appliance for your home. Learn more at bestbuy.com. Best Buy. Imagine that.
And now, your daily dose of debate, breaking news, and uncensored views. This is the Michael Medved Show.
And another great day in this greatest nation on God's green earth. A great day despite the fact that there has been another incident involving the death of 4 individuals who were suspected of running a drug boat in the Eastern Pacific. There's also a shocking bit of news regarding this entire operation of trying to interdict, trying to destroy and sink drug vessels that are responsible for carrying illegal narcotics and other drugs into the United States. The surprise announcement today is that one of the naval admirals in charge of the operation has been fired. Okay, the Pentagon is denying, and Pete Hegseth is denying that he was fired, except he was asked to resign. And when you're a military 4-star officer, when you are asked to resign, what were you going to fight the Secretary of Defense and the President? They are above you in the chain of command. See you later. Admiral Halsey, his name is. But we will get to that. Why is it that it appears that somebody should be fired for this totally shameful situation that's going on with strikes on 23 suspected drug boats, the death of more than 80 people, and it's much easier to actually, and better, obviously, to arrest people and then press charges and then to work on breaking up the cartel. But you don't break up the cartel by killing some of the sailors, people who may not even be directly involved in drug running. Anyway, there's a headline from CBS that 7.1 tons of cocaine were seized in the Caribbean. 11 people were arrested unharmed. This was reported by the Navy of Colombia. The seizures come as Colombian President Gustavo Petro was calling on the U.S. to stop the strikes in the region against apparent drug carrying or alleged drug carrying ships, boats. Meanwhile, we will get to why it is that an admiral lost his position based not on some kind of violation of rules, but through his insistence of recognizing rules. Also, there's more information and extremely provocative information about Brian Cole. That name is not familiar to most people yet, but that is the individual who planted bombs the night before the January 6th riots in the capital city in Washington, D.C., attacking the Capitol building. Those riots did not involve explosions, but they were planned to involve explosions because Brian Cole, who is now reportedly admitted that he was the one who planted bombs at the Republican National Headquarters and at the Democratic National Headquarters. The headline says, accused D.C. pipe bomber Brian Cole told the FBI he believed the 2020 election was stolen. Okay, so at this point, since we have pardoned, the president has pardoned, I had nothing to do with it. I didn't pardon anybody regarding the riots of January of 2021. But President Trump pardoned some 1,500 people. And they were all people who had done terrible things, who had caused injury and arguably even caused some deaths, but certainly caused property destruction and sent 140 cops to the hospital. Those people were pardoned. So why would you not pardon? Why would you go on with a legal proceedings against Brian Cole, whose planting of these bombs, even though the bombs were operative? Look, it's appropriate. I think planting bombs should be very much illegal and should be punished for people who plant bombs that are workable. And all the reports say those bombs could have and would have gone off if they hadn't been discovered beforehand. Okay, why is he not worthy of a pardon? There are people who sent cops to the hospital. There are people who provoked unnecessary death. Including the death of the a rioter who was trying to break through into the House chamber and was shot. But with all of that, those people are hailed by President Trump as patriots who are expressing their love for the country, and somebody who plants 2 unsuccessful bombs is not. This is going to be a very complicated question to ask. President is staring down criticism that he has prioritized global issues over pocketbook worries. So next week he will kick off a year, he says, of heavy domestic travel here in the United States that is focused on selling his economic agenda ahead of the midterms. We're going to be talking to Rick Newman, who is an economic analyst, about where Trump's performance in his first year's office ranks in terms of the economy. We will be getting to that. Meanwhile, CNN report the U.S. military carried out another deadly attack on a suspected drug boat in the Eastern Pacific, killing 4 people on board. According to the U.S. Southern Command, the vessel in international waters was carrying illicit narcotics at the time of the strike. At least 87 people have now been killed in strikes on 23 suspected drug boats as part of a campaign dubbed Operation Southern Spear that the Trump administration said is aimed at curtailing drug trafficking. President Trump has indicated that the U.S. is preparing to escalate its offensive against drug cartels, repeatedly saying in recent days that the military will soon begin striking targets inside Venezuela. And then this headline from The Hill. At The Hill, they report that Defense Secretary Hegseth asked the 4-star Navy admiral overseeing the U.S. military strikes against boats in the Caribbean. They've asked him to step down after the top officer voiced concerns about the murky legality of the attacks. The U.S. Southern Command head, Admiral Alvin Halsey, will retire 2 years ahead of schedule on December 12th, following, quote, months of discord between him and Hegseth. That reported by the Wall Street Journal. Hegseth announced the surprise retirement on October 16th, with Halsey only 1 year into his tenure and during a major new military operation, an extraordinary move, lawmakers and experts said at the time. You're either on the team or you're not, Hegseth reportedly told Admiral Halsey at the time. When you get an order, you move out fast and you don't ask questions. That's even when that order might violate international law and the laws of war. Later in March, Hegseth ordered Halsey to develop military options to ensure that the U.S. had full access to the Panama Canal. That after President Trump said he wanted to reclaim the strategic waterway, but the Pentagon chief felt Halsey didn't move quickly enough on the plans to invade Panama again. Then the past summer, when the U.S. military began striking boats off the coast of Venezuela, that the administration claimed without evidence were carrying drugs bound for America, Halsey was repeatedly concerned about the tenuous legal authority for the campaign. There's also words from another admiral, this one, the Admiral Frank Bradley. We will come to what he has revealed coming up on the Medved Show.
Ray-Ban Meta glasses come with open-ear audio, so you can listen to your favorite music without blocking out the world around you.
Hey, Meta, play Gorgeous.
Here's Gorgeous by Doja Cat.
You can also ask Meta AI questions.
Hey, Meta, when's Doja Cat's next concert?
Doja Cat is playing at the Los Angeles Theater next Tuesday.
Sweet.
Ray-Ban Meta glasses, available at Ray-Ban stores and other authorized retailers.
And on the Michael Medved Show, there is more about the relationship between Pete Hegseth, the Secretary of War, as he would style himself, between Pete Hegseth and various officers who are under his command. One of them has been asked to resign, and he has resigned. His name is Alvin Halsey. And he is guilty because of what is reported in the Hill. This past summer, when the U.S. military began striking boats off the coast of Venezuela, and the administration claimed without evidence were carrying drugs bound for America, Halsey was reportedly concerned about the tenuous legal authority for the campaign. We had on John Yoo yesterday, interviewed on the show, former Assistant Deputy Attorney General under the Bush administration and a very distinguished legal scholar, professor of law at University of California at Berkeley Law School. And he said there's no question that the second hit on the boat on September the 2nd that has inspired so much controversy, that was a violation of not only international law, but a violation of the Uniform Code of Military Justice. So Admiral Halsey would have had every right to worry about the tenuous legal basis for this U.S. policy involved with so-called Operation Southern Spear. The Halsey objected that parts of the operations fell outside his direct control, as other military units under separate chains of command were also involved in the strikes. Multiple outlets have reported at the time that Admiral Halsey and Hegseth were at odds over the U.S. mission in the Caribbean. But Pentagon spokesperson Sean Parnell at the time, as spokesman for Hegseth, of course, dismissed the stories as fake news, insisting there was no hesitation or concerns about the mission. Now, if that's true, if this Pentagon spokesman is telling the truth, asked by The Hill about the nature of Halsey's departure, the Pentagon official, unnamed, disputed that there was any animosity around his leaving. Admiral Halsey, he said, was not fired. He was asked to retire on good terms. Okay, the distinction between being fired and being asked to retire on good terms is one of those distinctions that may be without a difference when you're talking about a 4-star military officer. Since that time, the team has worked in harmony. We are grateful for his service to our nation, and we wish him well in his future endeavors. The Washington Post last week reported the Pentagon chief, this is Hegseth, gave a spoken directive to kill everybody ahead of the U.S. military's September 2nd attack against an alleged drug smuggling vessel in the Caribbean, an operation in which 11 narco terrorists, and that's in quotes, were killed. Now, Today, the news is that Admiral Frank, also known as Mitch Bradley, another naval admiral, he is the commander who oversaw the strikes on September 2nd. And he is the one who ordered a follow-up attack to kill 2 survivors. Yesterday, he denied, and let's make this clear, he denied that Hegseth ordered his subordinates to kill everybody aboard the vessel. Hegseth, as he has said in his own statement, had moved to another part of the building, and it was a busy day for him, and he wasn't responsible for giving the order to kill the 2 people who were clinging to burning remnants of the boat that had been previously hit, and where some of what is going on is very, very dubious in terms of its legality and appropriateness. Meanwhile, talking about things that are very dubious, there is a headline from Gallup that says, economic confidence slips, holiday spending plans plummet. Consumers' holiday spending estimate has shrunk by over $200. That's per family, I assume, as economic confidence edges down. So what does one make of Trump's economic performance? We are going to be speaking about that with Rick Newman, podcaster with the Pinpoint Press. He is a founder there and former columnist for Yahoo Finance and Pentagon's correspondent for U.S. News and World Report. Meanwhile, Axios is reporting that President Trump is going to conduct himself, he says, differently next year, and he's going to be doing that by giving more attention to domestic issues. Trump's approval rating has sunk, they report in Axios, as he has pursued peace deals around the globe and narco-terrorists in the Caribbean, while Americans have become more pessimistic about affording a better life. And President Trump also believes that any concerns about affordability are a hoax. Now, I went to the market last night with my wife, and she was commenting because she notices, does most of the grocery shopping, yes, using the term groceries, that there has been a very notable increase in costs. And the total amount of spending is much higher than it has been in the past. Now, that doesn't mean anyone's going to starve here, but what it does mean is that for the desire to pay all bills on time and not to go deeper into debt, a lot of people are looking at the price tag and saying, whoa. With Republicans, this is again from Axios, with Republicans in danger of losing control of the House next November, and some people say there's even a danger in the U.S. Senate, Trump needs to be a lift, not a drag in tough districts if the GOP is to defy powerful historical trends and keep its majority. Trump's new push begins next week in the vital battleground state of northeastern Pennsylvania. We will get to that and more. Rick Newman coming up on Trump's economic performance here on the Medved Show.
It's 7v7 soccer. Smaller the pitch, faster the action. The world's elite soccer clubs compete for their share of a massive $5 million prize. Catch World Sevens on TNT, True TV, and HBO Max December 5th through the 7th.
Okay, you'll be home for Christmas, but will you be broke for Christmas? That's one of the questions that the American people are asking right now. Rick Newman has a fascinating analysis about where we are economically and perhaps where we are going. Rick Newman is the founder of the Pinpoint Press. He is a former senior columnist for Yahoo Finance and a former chief business correspondent and Pentagon correspondent for U.S. News and World Report. His most recent column, which is posted at our website at michaelmedved.com, has the headline, "The Trump Economy is Subpar." And what you do here is you take a look at 13 different presidents, the last 13 first years, and analyze how people were doing. Now, this is not an analysis of just public sentiment, though often public sentiment goes along with it. What are the key measures that you use, Rick, to determine whether an economy is above par, below par, subpar, or where it ranks?
This is data I've been tracking since the first Trump presidency. Moody's Analytics is a research firm that provides this data, and it's stuff I think most people can relate to. It's employment, manufacturing employment, inflation, GDP growth, stocks, and incomes. So what we have done is created an index. We start at the beginning of every presidential term, and then we measure how each of those six things changes as the presidential term goes on. And if you compare Trump with prior presidents, I mean, if you compare him with the presidents starting with the year 2001, the 21st century presidents, he ranks. I think he is 5 out of 7. He's the 5th out of 7. And if you go back to the 1970s and Jimmy Carter, he ranks 8th out of 13. I mean, that's not terrible, but I mean, this is a president who is telling us that a new golden age has arrived in America, that he's the affordability president, that America's never been in such good shape, and it's just not true. And people kind of know that. I mean, you can tell that from sentiment surveys, which are pretty dismal. So people, even if they're not looking at the data the way I am, they're not feeling great.
No, I mean, and his ratings on the economy are below 40%. It's overwhelmingly people disapprove of President Trump's handling of the economy. If President Trump happens to read your article, which I think he probably won't, he would find that the top-ranked president in terms of economic performance, that wouldn't make him happy, would it?
No, and people might quibble with this, but the president who comes in first at this point in his presidency, so that I'm only measuring 10 months into the presidency, but it's Barack Obama in 2009, and that's a quirk of timing. Obama took office as the Great Recession was almost over. So that recession started more than a year before he took office, and it ended just a few months after he started in 2009. And then, so he came in at a low point and things got better. So that might be a statistical quirk, but I'm going to be doing this analysis all through the Trump presidency. And eventually we'll be comparing Trump with other presidents once he's 2 years into office, 3 years into office, and then 4 years into office. So this is the beginning of the analysis. There's a lot more to come.
Okay, what about Trump's statement, and he's made this again and again and again, that when he came in, he inherited the worst economy in American history. He inherited an inflation that was out of control. He inherited low job growth. Were things really as bad as Trump makes out when he took over as president?
Not at all. I think you know the answer to this, Michael, the way you're asking the question. But one of the ways I also look at this data is compare how the economy has evolved during Trump's first term so far with how it was just 1 year ago. And on either 4 or 5 of those metrics I measured, we're actually doing worse. That doesn't mean that the actual employment level is lower, but if you look at the change from February to November of 2025 and compare that with the change during the same time period in 2024, on 5 of those things, we're doing worse this year. And the only one we're doing better is GDP growth, and this is where the so-called K-shaped economy comes in. The economy overall is holding up because wealthy people are spending a lot of money, but people on the downward slant of that K are feeling a lot of pressure. Okay,
in terms of people feeling a lot of pressure, we've talked about where Trump ranks, and it's a little bit below average for presidents. He's in the middle range. but and President Obama, who took over in 2009, actually did very well in terms of economic growth. Who was the worst president in terms of this measure of economic success or failure?
Well, if you look at an entire presidential term, I think you're going to come up with Jimmy Carter in the 1970s based on our competitive set. George W. Bush had a rough start to his presidency in 2001, and that's because the dot-com bust was just getting started. So he took office just as a short-lived recession, but a recession anyway, was just getting started. And the stock market, of course, went down for, I think, 4 years when it busted. Jimmy Carter's interesting because when you go back and look at the numbers, there was really strong job growth, and especially manufacturing job growth at the beginning of Jimmy Carter's term. But of course, there was high inflation then as well, and he didn't get reelected because of the economy in 1980. So I have a lot of fun going back and trying to remember what these presidencies were like. I will tell you that.
And it's very useful, too. You write in your column that Trump brags repeatedly, incessantly, in fact, about a roaring stock market. But you write that stocks normally go up, and under Trump, the S&P 500 index is doing a little bit worse than average.
Yeah.
When stocks normally go up, it's normally about, 6%, 7% a year?
Yeah, I think that's right. And so one thing that is happening under Trump is we have had stocks going up for 3 years. So people, if you're lucky enough to own stocks right now, you're part of that upward slant on that K-shaped economy. So you're getting these gains under Trump after we had pretty good gains during the last 2 years under Biden. So this is third year of a bull market, and people have been watching their 401ks getting pretty fat. There obviously are concerns that the market is overvalued by valuation metrics. Stocks are clearly overvalued. That doesn't mean they're going to go down. Because behind it we have the artificial intelligence boom, and nobody's sure how long that's going to last. But stocks usually do go up, so that is something that is going in Trump's direction, but it's not extraordinary.
Okay, in terms of a quick answer, because we're almost out of time, President Trump has said he has a plan to eliminate income tax and basically to replace it all with tariffs. Chances of that actually happening?
Zero. That's about as short as I can make it, but there's just not enough tariff revenue. I think you'd have to get at least something like 10 to 15 times as much tariff revenue as Trump is pulling in now. Plus, that would completely upend our entire taxation system, and people don't like tariffs.
I love the fact that Costco is now suing the Trump administration because of damage to their business done by the tariff policy. Rick Newman, his column on Trump's financial performance, which, by the way, is not a hit job in any sense. It's a balanced and informative view that reaches a conclusion that the Trump economy is subpar. So where do we go from here? We will be right back on the Medved Show. And Merry Christmas to you, Rick Newman.
Hey, same.
Medved.
Hey, Ryan Reynolds here. Wishing you a very happy half-off holiday, because right now Mint Mobile is offering you the gift of 50% off unlimited. To be clear, that's half price, not half the service. Mint is still premium unlimited wireless for a great price. So that means a half day. Yeah?
Give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan, equivalent to $15 per month required. New customer offer for first 3 months only. Speed slow after 35 gigabytes if network's busy. Taxes and fees extra. See mintmobile.com.
And on the Michael Medved Show, in addition to all of our other woes and challenges for this holiday season, there was also that terrible earthquake yesterday, right? I mean, devastating. An alert that Nevada had been rocked by a 5.9 magnitude earthquake. yesterday, sent phones buzzing briefly before the U.S. Geological Survey quickly deleted the warning from the website and said that it had been sent in error. In other words, no earthquake. The alert for what would have been one of the largest earthquakes in the United States this year set off a chain of automatic warnings far away as the San Francisco Bay Area, as people in Dayton, Nevada, and nearby Reno began to report that they felt no shaking at all, no 5.9 on the Richter scale. The warning was released by the USGS tool called Shake Alert, that is designed to inform people about earthquakes before they feel shaking, or even when they don't, as it turns out, feel shaking. I do think this is useful in terms of keeping in mind the fact that even some of the most revered and respected government agencies are fallible, not always 100% reliable. Meanwhile, speaking of not always 100% reliable, President Trump is attacking the whole word affordability, claiming that it's a hoax, a Democratic hoax. And so Senator Chuck Schumer responded by posting a flashback on X. And the flashback was from President Trump speaking during 2024, during the presidential campaign against Joe Biden that returned him to the White House. So Trump 2024, meet Trump 2025 on the subject of affordability. Clip 15.
Starting on day one, we will end inflation and make America affordable again. But the word affordability is a Democrat scam. One of my top priorities will be to quickly defeat inflation and make America affordable again. I don't want to hear about the affordability. We will make America affordable again. We're going to make it affordable again. You know, there's this fake narrative that the Democrats talk about, affordability. Affordability is a con job. We will target everything from car affordability to housing affordability. You know, this whole thing is, they use the word affordability. It's a Democrat hoax.
Okay, it's a Democrat hoax, which you could hear in those clips, was at least invoked, a half dozen times? No, more than that, by President Trump during the campaign. And concerning affordability, it's also a very popular word in terms of Google searches. This reported on CNN by their statistics guy, Harry Enton, clip 9.
Google searches for affordability up 110% versus a year ago. More folks search for affordability in the last month than at any point since the Great Recession. It's the cost of living, most important to you right now, 36%. What's right behind it? The economy, 20%. He won on affordability. He won on the cost of living in 2024, and he has completely lost the plot.
Meanwhile, one of his hopes is that everything will get better for him when he is able to get rid of the head of the Federal Reserve, Jerome Powell, who he, by the way, installed. And Jerome Powell, they're talking about a very likely small drop in interest rates before the end of the year, but we'll see. And it's in May that we get a new head of the Federal Reserve. The most likely candidate is Trump's top economic aide, whose name is Kevin Hassett. And he was on Fox with Martha McCallum, and she was talking about some of the disastrous polling numbers regarding Trump's economic performance. This is clip 8 from Fox News.
we've got an all-above approach that is definitely going to make things, inflation lower and things cheaper. But don't forget that it's not just what happens to prices, but what happens to wages. And so far, after losing $3,000 in purchasing power under Joe Biden, already this year in Trump's economy, then people have gained $1,200 in purchasing power because of the moves that we're making. And in the car thing, I want to
at a point, Kevin, pardon me for interrupting, where and correct me if I'm wrong, but the numbers that we looked at show that inflation is still higher than wage growth. Is that true?
No. Wage growth is higher than inflation now. I'll send you an email, or come on next time and show you the chart.
Inflation is at 2.9%.
Real wage growth is $1,200 over the year.
Okay, we'll be happy to take a look at that.
Okay, and I don't know how that challenge has worked out one way or another. But it is true that if you look around at the Republican Party, this is something that we discussed yesterday in a really outstanding interview that we had with Matt Lewis about Trump losing the solid support from the GOP that has characterized most of the first year of his presidency. But it's different now. And that was pointed out by one of the dissenters who really broke with President Trump, particularly on the idea of the Epstein files. Remember them? They're still due. They're due to be completely revealed, released, exposed by the 19th of this month. And one of the leading voices demanding that was Thomas Massie, the congressman from Kentucky. He was talking to Manu Raju of CNN outside the Capitol building, and he finally spoke very directly about Trump's tough time with his own formerly loyal members of the GOP. This is clip 14.
You have a lot of intelligent, hardworking people who gave up a lot of things to be here in Congress, only to find out that all they get to do is come here and rubber stamp whatever Donald Trump wants. Because nobody wants to be a rubber stamp. You could get a monkey to do this job.
You could get a monkey to do this job and get the monkey confirmed by the Senate, at least with the Senate's current constitution. This is breaking news from CBS. A judge ordered the unsealing of grand jury transcripts from the Epstein case in Florida, the case that initially got him in trouble with the law. There is this comment from S.E. Cupp on CNN, who's generally identified with the moderate conservative point of view about Trump's diminishing political capital. This is clip 10.
I think this is both a story of incompetence and diminishing political capital. The incompetence in making a Lindsay Halligan after several lawyers said, I'm not touching this, putting her in there, giving yourself really no good opportunity to win. That's to the incompetence side, and we're seeing that kind of throughout the Trump world. But the diminishing political capital is really astounding. There was a time when Trump could get up and say things like that, and by sheer will of force, it would seem like all the apparatus around him would bend and do what he said. Yeah. Now he's got prosecutors saying no. He's got people at the Pentagon saying, no, I won't do it. I'm resigning. He's got lawmakers saying, I'm resigning because I'm not going along with this. He's got people saying, I will not bury the Epstein files. I will not end the filibuster. Indiana state senators saying, I will not help you redistrict. The capital that this man once had, convincing Republicans to defend an insurrection at one point. Yeah. Now he can't even give them, get them to do his basic bidding. The things he, did so powerfully in his first term. It's astonishing.
I mean, it is astonishing and deserves more attention, which we will be providing as this show develops. There's also big news in the movie world today because the Critics' Choice Awards, which is one of the big awards together with the Golden Globes and the Oscars, obviously, the nominees were announced today with some very big surprises. We will get to that and to much more as this holiday season develops without, God willing, a joy for celebration in this greatest nation on God's green earth.